Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Valerie and today I'll be making a couple Halloween costumes for me and my husband. This year we're going to be Beetlejuice and Lydia Deetz. I'm so excited and I hope our costumes turned out great. Right now I'm going to go to a thrift store to find some pieces I can upcycle for our costumes and then I'll be back to you. For Lydia's costume, I found this dress and I'm going to alter it. I also bought some tulle in the same color for the veil. As for the Beetlejuice costume, it's a bit trickier. In the movie he wears a maroon suit, but I couldn't find one in any thrift store. So I decided my husband will just wear a black suit and I'll create a Beetlejuice look with other details. I'll start with Lydia's costume, specifically by altering the dress. And the first thing I'm going to do is to cut the mesh skirt of the dress into 4 parts. I will sew 3 parts onto the underskirt in a tiered fashion to replicate the silhouette of Lydia's dress. The 4th part will be used to finish the neckline. I won't be making an exact replica of her dress because the original one is quite long and has a huge crinoline underneath, but I want to be able to move and dance comfortably in this dress, so I'll create a more practical version. So I'm going to shorten the underskirt a little bit. After I've cut everything, I'm going to finish all these mesh parts of the skirt with a rolled hem on the overlocker. Before sewing these parts onto the dress, I'm going to gather them. I set the widest stitch on my sewing machine. And then I'm simply going to sew a straight stitch around this piece. I don't make any back stitches at the beginning and end. After that, I cut the thread and just start pulling it to create gathers. I gather until I reach the circumference of the underskirt. Then I evenly distribute the gathers across the entire width. And of course, I repeat this with all the pieces. I've marked lines on the underskirt along which I'll be sewing the mesh pieces, and I'm going to pin my pieces in place and sew them down. Now I'll move on to the neckline. The original dress has a V-neck, so I'm going to cut it in the same way. After that, I pin my gathers from the inside and sew them on. I sew them on the inside because seams wouldn't be visible under the gathers when I turn them inside out. Whereas if I sew them on the outside, they would be visible in the neckline. And the dress is ready! Of course, the dress should have long sleeves and a mesh neckline, but to save myself some extra work, I'll just wear this mesh top under the dress. Now I'll move on to preparing the Beetlejuice look. I bought this cheap wig, and yes, it looks horrible, but I did enough for something more expensive because I couldn't find anything resembling Beetlejuice's hair, and I would have had to completely redo it anyway. So I'll try to make it look somewhat like Beetlejuice's hair. And the first thing I decided to do with it is to dye it, as I had dark hair dye at home. I wanted to make the green color look dirtier. However, the dye didn't adhere to the wig at all. So I had to dry it and come up with another way to give it that dirty look. Then I thought I didn't like the bangs, so I decided to cut them off and sew another part of the wig from the back to the front. It was quite easy to do because the hair was simply stitched on with basting stitches. Then I decided it's better to wear the wig backward because it looks better that way, so I unbraided a few strands again and started sewing them to the back of the wig, which is now the front. I really went through a lot with this wig, to be honest. And then I also shortened it. And then I came up with an idea to paint it with eyeshadows, and to my delight it worked! The eyeshadows surprisingly adhere well to the wig and don't even transfer into my hands. So if you ever need to give a wig a certain shade, know that it's easy to do with eyeshadows. Now I'm going to give the wig a tassel look using the hair straightener. So I'm just going to bend the hair in the different directions and tassel it. After that, I'm going to comb the wig thoroughly and add a bit more eyeshadow. In the end, I secured the wig with hairspray. For the Beetlejuice costume, I also sewed a bow tie. I decided not to show the entire process of how I made it in this video. Instead, I'll create a separate video for that, and those interested can watch it. Beetlejuice also has a ruffle jabot on his shirt. To be honest, I don't know how to sew it properly, and I don't feel like searching for tutorials, so I decided to make it my own way. I took scraps from my shirt, and by the way, I never throw away fabric scraps, because they can be handy for cases like this. I cut out 3 narrow rectangles and 1 wide. I finished all the edges with an overlocker. On the narrow rectangles, I'm going to sew straight lines with a wide stitch. And then I'm going to simply pull the thread to create gathers, just like I did with the gathering on the skirt. After that, I sew these pieces into a wide rectangle and the jabot is ready. I think I'll just pin it to the shirt, so it can be easily removed as well. And that's it for the costumes. Then I applied makeup to my husband and myself. I didn't record that part because I'm not a makeup artist, but here's the final result. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and seeing everything come together. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting more photos from Halloween in this costume. Today we dressed up and did a makeup just for the video, so I could publish it before Halloween, so maybe some of you might get inspired to create the same costume. On Halloween we'll do this makeup and everything again, but for now, it's all for you guys. And as always, I'll see you in the next videos. Bye!